All right, let's just jump right in. We're going to talk about a pretty fundamental shift in marketing today. We're moving away from just trying to grab people's attention to actually building something with them, shared ownership. And look, this isn't some far-off futuristic trend. Nope, it's a strategy that's happening right now.
So, think about this for a sec. Imagine your best, absolute top-performing digital ad campaign. You know, the one you were really proud of. If you're lucky, and I mean really lucky, you might hit a click-through rate of, say, 1.2%. In our world, that's considered a home run, right? But let's be real for a second. That means 98.8% of people just scrolled out on by. Okay, but now, what if I told you there's another way? A channel where community participation isn't 1 or 2%, but routinely hits 40%. Yeah, 40! Where the users themselves are actually voting on real creative decisions for the brand. How is that even possible? Well, that huge, massive gap between those two numbers, that's exactly what we're going to break down.
So, the root of this whole problem, it's not what most marketers think. It's not about a lack of channels or places to throw money. We are facing a full-blown attention deficit crisis.
You see, the real issue is that people they're completely burned out by the whole Web2 surveillance economy. They're installing ad blockers, they're refusing cookies, and their default setting is just pure skepticism. The trust has been completely eroded, and just shouting louder with more ads, that's not going to fix it. And this right here really illustrates the cost of that broken trust. It's like we're pouring money into a leaky bucket. What this data shows is that advertisers who use blockchain for attribution, which is totally transparent and verifiable, by the way, they saw a 34% reduction in their cost to get a new customer. That gap, well, that's all the waste, fraud, and inefficiency baked into the current system.
So if the old way is broken, what's the solution? Well, it really requires a complete paradigm shift in how we even think about our audience. It's all about moving from just renting their attention to actually building something with them.
So on one side, you've got the attention economy. That's Web2 in a nutshell. Brands interrupt whatever you're doing, fighting for a little bit of screen time on platforms that, let's be honest, they don't even control. But then on the other side, you've got the ownership economy. And this is the Web3 model. It's where you stop renting attention and you start building shared ownership with your community.
So here's the absolute crucial point. In the ownership economy, users aren't just consumers anymore. They become stakeholders. They have a real, verifiable piece of the pie. They get to share in the value, and they get a say in the governance of the brands and communities they actually care about. And believe me, this changes everything.
Okay, so that's the big idea, the grand vision. But how do you actually do it, right? Let's move from the why to the how with a really practical, actionable playbook.
This here is basically our strategic map. You know, most brands, they live down here in quadrant I, the status quo. Think Facebook ads, where all the engagement is centralized and the assets are owned by the platform. The goal, our goal, is to move step by step over to quadrant 4, the hub. This is where engagement is decentralized and asset ownership is actually in the hands of the user. This is where real, genuine loyalty is built.
And here's the path to get there. It's a 5-step framework designed to build a decentralized marketing engine, which is often structured as a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. So let's walk through each step. Tokenize, gate, govern, measure, and synthesize. Okay, first up, tokenize. This is the foundation of everything. You have to identify the core currency of your community. Is it loyalty? Is it special access? Is it creative input? Whatever it is, you turn it into a digital asset, like an NFT, that your community can actually own and trade. It's not just points on some company's server anymore, it's their asset. Step 2 is to gate. So once they have that token, you use it like a key. And this key, it unlocks exclusive spaces, maybe a private Discord channel, or really high-value experiences like early access to products. Look, this isn't about excluding people. It's about screening for genuine commitment. Now, step 3 is where things get really, really radical. Govern. You literally start shifting power from the boardroom to the community. You let the token holders vote on real brand decisions, like the theme of the next ad campaign, a new product feature, maybe even how some of the budget gets allocated. You're actually co-creating with your most passionate fans. Next up, step 4, measure. Instead of using all these hidden, murky metrics, you reward desirable actions transparently, right there on the blockchain. So did someone show up to a virtual event? Did they refer a new member to the community? You can reward that behavior automatically, and that incentivizes the kind of participation that actually builds real value.
And finally, we have the crucial 5th step, synthesize. Look, This can't all just live in some digital void. You have to connect it back to reality. That digital token should unlock a real-world product, or get you into an in-person event, or have some kind of tangible utility. It's this synthesis that makes the whole ecosystem feel real and valuable.
So the big question is, does this playbook actually work? Well, let's take a look at some brands that are putting these principles into practice and honestly seeing some pretty incredible results.
Let's talk about Nike. They didn't just partner with some NFT studio. They went out and bought it. They use what's called a phygital model, part physical, part digital. Their NFTs, they act like a digital key or a passport that allows the person holding it to claim a pair of ultra-exclusive physical sneakers. The real genius here is that they're not just selling NFTs, they're pre-qualifying their most dedicated, highest-value customers.
And the result of all that? Well, the RTFKT ecosystem has generated over $250 million in sales. I mean, come on. This is definitive proof that digital ownership can command a huge premium and translate directly into real-world revenue and brand equity.
And this isn't just a strategy for, huge global luxury brands. In India, Tata Tea used this idea of digital collectibility to drive a campaign around cultural themes. And the result, their social engagement rate was 4.5 times higher than their normal content. It just proved that the appetite for this stuff is global.
Now, it is so important to be realistic here. This is not some magic bullet, and the road ahead has some very, very real challenges that we have to acknowledge.
Let's be honest, the user experience can still be pretty clunky sometimes. Scalability and high transaction fees, they can be a total nightmare. And the whole regulatory landscape, especially in regions like South Asia, is still constantly changing. These are serious hurdles that mean you have to plan carefully and really focus on utility, not just speculation. Okay, so let's bring it all together. The single most important thing is to shift your entire strategy from the attention economy to the ownership economy. Tokenize that loyalty, co-create with your community, and use the transparency of the blockchain to cut costs. And please remember, emerging markets represent a massive early mover advantage right now.
And all of this brings us to the final, critical question that every single brand and marketer needs to be asking themselves right now. As you plan for the future, are you still just renting eyeballs in the attention economy, or are you building lasting value in the ownership economy? Because that choice is what's going to define the next decade of marketing.